What's going on? In this video, I want to share with you the lessons I learned losing over $1.6 million cash trading cryptos.
I'm gonna kill myself!
Right, I don't even know why I'm smiling, but I'm going to share with you the real life lessons that I've discovered and I've learned in the hopes that hopefully at least one person watching this, it can save you money, it can save you a lot of heartache, a headache, hassle, and a lot of sometimes even trauma, because what happens is when you lose money, especially when it's a large sum of money, okay, so for some people it might be $1,000, for some people it might be $10,000, $100,000, and I know, guaranteed I know that some people watching this have lost at least $1 million or more, maybe through bad investments, trades, people stealing money from them. And so in today's video, I want to just kind of share with you a true real life story of how I recently lost over $1.6 million cash trading crypto, and the lessons hopefully that you can take from it. You know, I was actually just talking to Mikey, because Mikey has been traveling with me for maybe 2-3 years now. How many years?
Yeah, over 3.
Over 3 years. Is it 3 or 4? Over 3 years, he's literally traveled the whole world with myself. You know, he gets to see first-hand experiences and lessons from me making, you know, $1 million in a month or $1 million in a week or whatever, to losing $1 million in a single trade. And he's been through so many different rough patches. When I'm going through rough patches, outside of my wife and my team, you know, he's the guy that's recording me, or most of the videos I actually recorded, we never end up publishing. But I said, hey, maybe we should record this because it's kind of real. It's really fresh. The wound, so to speak, the hurt I'm going through. And the only way I can get through this is by just smiling through it, which is really just weird, but it is what it is. And I'm going to share with you these lessons because I know some people out there, they've lost a lot of money, whether it's trading cryptos, it's investing in their business, it's going through all of this. And I'm actually going to share with you a story of the first time someone stole from me. Okay, now in this case, you could say the market stole from me, but it was more of a many mistakes compounded that made me lose this money. But the first time I remember losing money, okay, this was probably when I was around 21-ish, 22 years old. I had met someone at a live event, and he had brought this investment opportunity to me. And he's like, you know, this is going to go crazy. Shaq, you're going to get into this. You know, Acorn's invested in this and it's going to go public. And I remember like having absolutely no money, but then being able to become resourceful and borrowing from my best friend, my dad. Can't even remember where else I borrowed from. And I think it was around 30,000 pounds, which is maybe at the time around 50,000 US dollars. And it happened to be basically a scammy investment. Okay. And, you know, I remember straight after losing that money, I had gone and met a friend who was a millionaire at the time. And I met him and I sat down with him and he said, look, the faster that you can let go of this mistake, the faster you can move on. Because imagine one day it's a much bigger number, you know, $3 million. You want to be ready for what's to come, right? But if you get stuck and if you're negative and you're holding on to the fact that you've lost, you know, 30 grand, what happens down the line, you know, that holds you back from making 300K or 3 million or even 30 million, which at the time, I'm not kidding. I remember thinking to myself, man, if I made 3 million, I'd be retired and I'd be all good. And the truth is, because I never stopped, okay, because I kept going, I was able to go and make $1 million a year, and then $5 million. And before turning 30, I generated over $30 million in sales, just selling digital courses and online stuff, right? And as I look back, that is probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned is you have to be able to get back up, rub the dirt off your shoulders. I'm sure that's a song by Jay-Z or someone. Okay, I don't listen to music anymore. It's been a long time, but whatever. And you gotta just keep moving forward, right? The truth is, when you go through challenging times, when you go through times where you lose money, whether it's $1,000, $100,000, $1 million, or what, or even more, no one is coming to save you. Okay, that's the raw, hard, cold, hard truth. Okay, many people won't tell you this, right? People will say, "Oh, it's okay." You know, it's not okay. No one's coming to save you. It might be okay down the line, but when you're hurting, and maybe some of you are hurting right now due to what's happening in the economy, maybe losing jobs, losing businesses, losing confidence. It's a painful part of life. You will just go through this pain and no one is coming to save you. So guess what? You have to step it up. You have to take ownership. You have to go back and you have to take responsibility, right? So I've gone through a handful of these occasions where I've lost money. You know, I've lost money. When I talk like this, sometimes it can be easy to be like, wow, it's easy for him because he makes money or he has lots of money. That's not the case. Trust me. Even losing 10 pounds, if I lost 10 pounds, I'm like, damn, I don't want to lose 10 pounds, right? Especially as you become more successful, you quickly realize it's not just about making more money. It's about wealth preservation, capital preservation, because you now want to create generational wealth, you know, wealth that can last you decades and through, you know, your kids and your grandkids and all of that. So it becomes a whole different game. And I remember even in my mid-20s, when I had made my first 8 figures. Okay, 8 figures is a big, it's a big mental and mental threshold, right? Like I remember making my first $10 million. I was 26 years old, and I was like, wow, you know, because I used to hear all these gurus like Ryan Dyson, Eben Pagan, and all of these gurus like Russell Brunson, Anik Singhal. They used to talk about 8 figures. You know, it's like it's a big thing, like hitting that $10 million mark. And I remember even at that time, like I was really young. I was about 25, 26 years old, and you know, I became a little bit arrogant. God forgive me. I had this huge ego. I thought like everything I touched turns to gold. And I remember making a series of investments and losing like stupid amounts of money, like close to about 800 grand. Okay. So in my mid-20s, I had invested a gazillion dollars in startups. I also had people very close to me that were employees and whatnot, stole a lot of money from me, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, you know, it was a big eye-opener, like, wow, because some, you know, especially where I come from, where I grew up in a place called East London, you know, you work so hard to get out of it and you have all these delusions about what rich people do and how rich people are. And one of the delusions I had was like, oh my gosh, like once I'm rich, I will have no problems. Like all my problems will go away. You quickly realize that's not true. Money also, although can take away a lot of money problems, there's still issues. You know, it's very hard to trust people. Like even now, I have probably less than 5 close friends. One of them is my wife. Okay, so like probably 3 to 4 very, very close friends. And then I have a bunch of people from my mastermind groups or people that are really, really successful, you know, multi-millionaires, people that run 8, 9-figure businesses and whatnot. But other than that, I don't really have any friends. Like I don't really go out my way to become social and to make new friends, because I feel like the friends I have, I rather deepen my relationship with them than versus making new friends. And I don't want to kind of put that energy or time into making new friends. But that's just me, right? And, you know, I remember thinking to myself, oh, wow, when I'm rich, I'm never going to have these issues. But the truth is, when you start making money, you start realizing who your close friends are, who your true friends are. Most of my friends, actually, all of them, have known me for 5, 10, even 15 years. They were my closest friends when I didn't have any money or when I was starting internet marketing, and they're still my closest friends now. And so, you know, I went through my own challenges and I learned a lot of lessons. And then recently I found myself, because I've been investing in crypto for many, many years now. And, you know, recently I did a bunch of trades. They didn't work out well. I don't use leverage, by the way. I don't do like short selling and longs. I don't go into that. I usually like to just buy really good investments at great entry points with a great team behind it. But long story short, what had happened was markets were coming down, and I panicked. I listened to a couple of the wrong people, and I sold out way too quickly, okay, which resulted in me losing approximately $1.6 million cash. And, it took like probably a day or so to get my head around it. And then when I did, I realized, oh, wow, I panic sold. Just before me losing that, okay, what had happened was I had made a huge gain in my portfolio. And I had made this huge gain, which was, multiple six figures in profit, which was in probably a couple of hours or so. And that immediately I felt like, whoa, this is amazing. Whatever trade I go into next, I'm going to kill it. And so then what happened was I got into this really high risk scalp trades. And in a period of like 3 or 4 trades, I had lost over 6 figures. And what I should have done, now looking back, is I should have get my journal out, journal my emotions, okay? Especially when you're trading, whether you're new or you're advanced, you want to be making sure that you're journaling all of your trades, because those trades create emotions, and you're going to be trading a lot of the times through emotions, which you shouldn't be doing, because you want to be trading off the charts and off the news. And for me, I didn't take that advice, right? And I was like, what had happened was, in that moment, I was like, damn, I just lost all this money, lost like 6 figures. So now what I went in with a lot of charged emotions, which is basically what's referred to as called revenge trading. It's like when you lose a bit of money, you think you're so smart, you're going to go back in trying to time everything. And the truth is, my entrepreneurial career, I can do that, right? Like when I run ads, let's just say I spent 10 grand on ads today, okay? Even if I didn't make money today, which is very unlikely, but let's just say if I didn't, I have now a whole bunch of leads, which I'm going to do email follow-up, which I'm going to do live webinars. I'm going to come up with 5 different offers. I will make my money back, right? Like that's just how the game works on a long enough scale. Whether it takes me 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 12 months, I will make that money back, because that's just how marketing works. That's just how building a list, building an online business, the power of funnels, that's why it works. It's the most amazing thing ever. It's way better than trading. That's why I always recommend start an online business and focus on scaling that. So, but the thing with the markets is that once you're out and you've sold a loss, you've lost that money, right? You've lost that. Now you have to go back in with fresh capital. You have to look for good entry points. And, as I was kind of reflecting this, I realized, okay, one, you gotta have right people around you. That's number one. Number two, even if you have right people around you and they give you information and news, you must remember the golden rules of investing. Never lose money, number one. Number two, don't forget rule number one, never lose money. Number three is ensuring that whatever trade that you take in, that it fits within your risk appetite, right? So for example, maybe $1,000 for a single trade is a good chunk, is a good enough for you. Or maybe if it's 100K, it's like going above your risk trade. Or if it's maybe 250K, it's like like really high risk. For me, I know that my risk level is around the 6-figure mark. I could kind of take swings at 6 figures and I'm all good. But when it comes to like over 500K per trade, and there's a risk of me, losing all of that, that's like being very immature, being very short-sighted, being very greedy. Okay, so because greed gets in, especially if you've had a few winning trades and you're like, wow, I can just jump in and out, and then you get in and then you lose, and now you feel like, oh, I need to go back in because I need to make it back again. Like revenge trading, making sure that you're very clear. Another thing which I'm going to advise you, and I'm advising myself, is just don't trade when you're tired, when you haven't slept well, when you haven't drank enough water, when you haven't prayed or meditated. Because a lot of the times what happens is your the actions that you take comes down to the thoughts and the emotions that you have, right? So imagine now, and I found myself doing some of this, right, where I tell my wife, hey, go to sleep, and we have a rule which is like no phones in the bedroom. So I'd either sneak out and get my phone, or I'd sneak upstairs, get back on my computer, and I'm like dead tired, but I'm like thinking I need to just get in like one more trade or 3 more trades and I'm good. And so really making sure that your personal health and your mental health is on point. Okay. And another thing, when it comes to like especially trading the crypto markets, because it is super risky, it's super volatile, it's super manipulated. Okay. Don't get sucked into the FUD. FUD stands for fear, uncertainty, doubt. Okay. I myself know this. That's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily read, I don't watch TV or watch the news anyway, but I don't really watch any sort of negative news on the crypto markets, except, you know, this whole thing that came out around the Death Cross, the Wyckoff distribution, all of these YouTubers. It was like my mind was in TMI, too much information. And see what happens is when you're in information overwhelm, because I see, you know, because I coach online entrepreneurs that want to start and grow an online business. Sometimes what happens is when you give someone too much information, their mind can process it and be like, okay, cool, I'm going to remove like 99%, I'm going to focus on 1%, boom, 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 I'll get it. Sometimes what happens is when they get too much information, and this is by the way most people, their brain gets so overwhelmed, it's almost like it becomes this melting pot of just so many different ideas to the point where it clouds your judgment. Okay, and this is very key, especially if you want to succeed in anything long term. You have to have and you have to develop, and I'm even talking to myself here, you have to develop the mindset of taking in so much information or taking in right information and then being at peace, being present with what you have in front of you so that you can make a cool, calm, collected decision versus reading the news and thinking, oh my gosh, like this is crazy, I gotta do this. And then, you know, one day later or even 1 hour later, you're like, what the heck did I just do? Right? I remember that specific trade where I lost over 7 figures. I was listening to like two people. One was someone who you know, it's free. I was learning from them. And then someone else was someone I actually pay. Sure, no one can guess where the market is going and blah, blah, blah. Okay. No one can give you exactly accurate numbers or accurate predictions, and anyone that does kind of go the other way. Okay. By the way, if you're liking this content, please make sure that you like this video and that you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and also leave me a comment. Okay. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm, and you'll be able to get notified when these videos go live. Okay. That's all I ask from these videos. If you get some value, something that you learn, please like, comment, share, subscribe, comment, whatever. Do all the things that's required. You know the drill, so please help me out there, okay? So I was listening to 2 people. One guy was free, one guy was paid, and even though, you know, both of them are smart in terms of one follows fundamentals, one follows the technical charts, I should have get the information and I should have sat with it even for like half an hour, or I should have asked 1 or 2 of my other friends versus just listening to these 2 gentlemen. And by the way, I'm going to share something important with you. Listen to these 2 gentlemen and then doing it and then losing the money. Now, another lesson is when you go through these phases where you lose money, it's very hard to do, okay? But you gotta tell yourself it's your responsibility. It's all your fault. Okay, now imagine, okay, Mike is here right next to me. Now, if he learns about certain cryptos that I'm trading and he thinks, okay, you know what, I'm going to just go in and I'm going to drop a couple of $1,000 or I'm going to drop $10,000 because I think this is going to be the next hit. And he, for whatever reason, he loses that trade. He loses that money. He loses, markets tank, and he now sells out of panic. Now, from that 10K, let's just say he only has $1,000. The majority of people, okay, maybe even you, the majority of people will easily think to themselves, I shouldn't have listened to him. It's his fault. Yes or no, Mikey?
Yeah.
But Mikey, what do you say? He'll say, I take full responsibility. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, because most people, when they lose money, when money gets stolen from them, okay, that attachment is so strong, they think to themselves, oh, it's that person's fault. And as soon, remember this, as soon as you play victim, as soon as you victimize yourself, you've already lost the game. The way you get your power back, okay, is by saying, okay, I made a mistake. I take full responsibility. What do I have to do now to shift? What do I have to do? What's the lesson I've learned? And when you think like that, now you can think, okay, you know what? Okay, I learned a lesson. So that lesson was an expensive lesson, just like for me. That was an expensive lesson I just learned recently, okay? And now I'm like, okay, moving forward, I'm not going to do that anymore. Moving forward, I'm going to make sure that, you know, whatever thing that I'm getting into, I can, you know, my risk appetite is good. Okay, so hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you did, leave me a comment below. Okay, if you have gone through similar situations like this, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, it's important. Don't invest more money than you can lose. If you have gone through situations like this, forgive yourself, because when you forgive yourself, you release the prisoner from within. Your mind becomes more clear. You can actually move forward. And number three, make sure that you understand principles of investing, write them out so that you have them right next to you. So anytime you're getting into a trade, you can just follow through. Hey, don't allocate more than 1% into an altcoin. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Make sure that you're trading only when you're rested and you're fully hydrated. You know, if you haven't meditated, you know, you haven't prayed, go and do those things so that your mind is at peace and not emotionally charged from getting into the FUD. Again, make sure that you go hit subscribe, like on this video, and leave me a comment. I want to hear from you. If you like more videos like this, just leave me a comment below. I'm going to be reading and responding to all the comments. God bless you, and I wish you happy trading. Be safe out there.